joining me today. This is going to be a short hip mobility and strength session, a short routine. You're going to need one of these sort of loop resistance bands, a medium to heavy one. If you're feeling strong, go for a heavy one, and a yoga block. And we're going to start with a little bit of a warm-up, and then we'll use the bits of equipment as we get going. So I'd love you to stand on one leg. You choose the leg you're standing on. If you need to be near a wall for this, please do. We're going to do a hip pendulum. And we're going to start off slow, where you swing your hip outwards and inwards. And the action comes from your hip joint, and your knee and your foot follow. So the knee and the foot drop outwards as the hip externally rotates, and the knee and the foot go inwards as the hip internally rotates. If you need your hands on your hips, that's okay. Try and keep your torso really stable, and then see if you can go a little quicker without disrupting your balance, or at least not too much anyway. And 4, 3, 2, and 1. And that can get tough on the standing leg, and you need to have good stability and strength, especially in your hip and your glutes on the standing leg side. So lengthen up, we're switching sides, start going slow, just getting the coordination of knee and hip dropping outwards. That's where the foot has to go inwards, and then the knee and the hip go inwards and the foot goes outwards. And we're just doing a pendulum swing for the hip. Notice which side is easier. If you can, pick up the pace without disrupting your balance, and you'll notice which side is so much more stable and where the hip swings more freely. Well done. Think of this as a little warm-up. Okay, take a second, shake it out. So we're going to stand on one leg again, go back to the first side, and this time I want you to imagine a figure of 8. So a horizontal figure of 8, and you're going to make that shape with your leg, with your hip. So we've got to go in and out, and in order to make the figure of 8 shape, you have to be accurate. I want this to feel like you're making it as big as you can, without disrupting your midline. So we keep the torso really stable. You're allowed to be near a wall if needed, and just try and be accurate. Go the other way. And here we have that standing leg again, where that hip and your glutes should have fired up to keep you stable. And we're back to that internal, external rotation again, and lower that leg down. Okay. Shake it out if you need to. Please do go to a wall if you need help with a little bit of your balance. Okay, so other side. First, visualize that figure of 8. It's a horizontal figure of 8, and you're trying to make as big a figure of 8 as you can, as smoothly as you can, accurately, with a full range of motion. Go the other way when you're ready. You've got to focus on your stabilizing leg as well. And of course, there's a bit of foot and ankle work going on. Noticing the trickier side, always worth coming back to and practicing. Okay, well done. And you're going to go to your yoga block. Now, you might need to be near a wall for this. So pop your right foot onto the block. If your foot is bigger than the block, if anything, your toes go over the edge, not your heel, because I need you to really push from your heel to be able to do this well. And it's a pelvic lift. Can you put your hands on your hip bones for feedback? Right now they're level, and you're standing with your heel up. So in your other foot, that heel is elevated, because if it isn't, you're going to have one bent knee and you're going to be a little lopsided. So 2 straight legs. Heel is elevated, pelvis is level. Okay, in order to take your left foot off the floor, you've got to push down into your right heel to lengthen your right hip. Your right hip goes down, your left hip hikes up. There is no leaning to your right side to do this, and if you need to, you face a wall to do this. And then you're going to let your hips come back to level so that your foot touches the ground. So if you're going to use a wall, please face the wall rather than being side onto the wall. So push your heel down, the right hip goes down, the left hip hikes up, you are still standing upright, and you start to feel, I'm going to face the camera again, you're going to start to feel your outer hip on your right side working. Push your right heel down. That drops the right hip, therefore your left hip hikes. There is a bit of a side bend to the left. And then you're going to realign your pelvis, allowing your foot, just your toes, to go back to the floor. Push your heel down. We have a hip hike and a hip drop. Drop, hike. What do those words mean? This hip moves away from the shoulder. This hip comes up to your shoulder. Let's do 2 more, and it should really start to feel intense, especially here, outer hip. So this is a stability and a strength exercise wrapped up in one. A 2-for-1 deal. Last one. My hip is tired. We don't need to do too many, we just need to do them well, hitting that sense of fatigue. Okay, so you're still facing the wall, you're just switching feet if you need to be near a wall. If you don't, that's cool. So you're lifted up onto your toes. You're not going to let your right foot go completely flat again. Push down into your left heel to allow that hip to drop and the hip hike. So your pelvis is not level. If you were to join my dots on my pelvis, there's going to be a diagonal line. And then you've got to bring the pelvis level, tap the toes. And you push from your heel. You don't even need your toes. These toes, the left foot. You don't even need those toes. Focus on your heel. Push down. Find the hip hike and the hip drop where your pelvis is at a diagonal. So your hip bones are your markers, which is why I'd like your hands on your hip bones. Can you feel they're making a seesaw effect? Or maybe like one of those old-fashioned scales. Push down, and so we're tipping the scale up on the side, down on the side. And you're not leaning. So you're not going to let this foot come off the floor because you're going that way. You need to be side bending that way, to your right. 2 more. We should be feeling that fatigue. We're not rushing. Last one. Good. That one might take a bit of practice. Both knees stay straight the whole time. Okay, so let's come onto all fours. Right knee on the block. Left knee right next door. You're on your hands and knees, but of course we don't have a level pelvis. So you're going to keep your right toes on the floor, and you're going to lift your left side up. That is the knee and the foot. There is abdominal effort to do that, to bring your pelvis to a level point. Slowly lower the knee down. Think about picking up the back of the hip. Lift the back of the hip up. Lower down. I'm just going to turn the other way so that you can see from this angle as well. Don't lean into your right side. Push the floor away with your 2 hands, 1 foot, to bring that knee up and down. And then if you need to, you can occasionally look down and just check that your knees are level with each other. And then when you've got that, make a circular motion with your hip. And there is abdominal effort to keep your pelvis level. Go the other way. Circle from the hip. Try not to kick your leg out. So you're not going to straighten and bend the knee to do this. It's a bent knee throughout. And lower the knee down. Okay, now we're going to do a circle with a straight leg. So first, press the floor away. Lift that knee and foot so that the pelvis is level. Straighten that leg, and now do some small straight leg circles. Lifting the back of the hip. Good. Go the other way. The most important thing is to not lean to your right side. And lower down. Sit back for a second. before you do the other side. I'm going to turn around again. So just switch the block so that it's under your left knee. Hands under shoulders, knees are under your hips, but your pelvis is certainly not level. You're going to keep your left foot down. When you're ready, you're going to pick up the back of your right hip so that your knees are level with each other. Of course, the right one is floating in the middle of space, and you're going to manage that. You might find one side so much easier. I'm currently doing my easier side. So much easier. Lift and lower. Just check in with your head. Make sure it's not just left hanging. So head on top of spine. And then we're going to hold, and you're just going to do those lovely hip circles. And it's weightless. We've got gravity on our side. You're going to keep the knee the same angle of a degree of a bent knee. Don't straighten that leg out. Go the other way. So just circle from the hip, and your knee is pointing down towards the floor. And then come down for a second. And then we're going to add in the straight leg. So when you're ready, first, lift the back of your hip up, no leaning to your left. Remember, straighten the leg, small circles. Lengthen the back of the neck, head on top of spine. Lift the back of your leg up to the ceiling. Circle the other way. And think about picking up the back of your leg, or the back of your legging, or shorts, whatever you're wearing. And come off that block. Sit back on your heels. And then you're going to lie on your back. Okay, we're coming to the band, so keep it nearby. And you're going to place your left leg down on the ground and bring your right knee up. And you're going to hold the block against your thigh. And you're going to make sure that your pelvis feels level. Check in with your hip bones. They should not be at a diagonal, they should be on a horizontal. How close can you bring your knee towards you without that hip hike? So you want to make sure that you're lengthening your right hip to the wall in front of you. Let your arms act like a wall. As you exhale, you're going to push your leg into the block. Resist with your arms. Your arms act like the wall. And then just release that tension a bit. Exhale and push as hard as you can. So you really feel right in here where your hip creases, your hip flexors. That needs to feel like, oh my gosh, that's effortful. Again, exhale and push. Needs to feel like hard work. You might feel some abdominal work. One more. Exhale, push, push, push. Keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. And release that. Your block. Find a way. You decide if it goes vertical or horizontal. Hold it between your heel and the back of your leg. And you're going to make a circular motion. And you're going to squeeze that block. And when your leg comes through center, bring it closer. If you need to just check in with your hip bones, make sure that they are level. Go the other way. Kneecap points to the ceiling. Don't let it go out or in. Little pressure on that block so that you don't drop it. And we're going to do the other side. Oh, okay, that hip needs a little rest. Okay, so as you bring the left knee up, make sure that you haven't hiked that hip. So we don't want to feel like you've shortened your left side. You've got to lengthen your left side. And then bring that leg in as close as you can and go when you're ready. Push your leg into the block and just resist with your arms acting like the wall. And release a bit. And go again. Exhale, push with as much effort as you can. You want to find your end range, which is how close can your knee go without cheating, and how much effort can you put in. Exhale, push. And release that. And let's go one more time. Push. And release that. And then you're going to hook the block between your heel and the back of your leg. And you're going to squeeze it, and you're just going to make a circular motion again. Just think about your thigh bone stirring around, hip socket, kneecap is pointing to the ceiling the whole time. Go the other way, and squeeze a bit so you don't drop the block. And if you can't keep the block there, then just squeeze your heel to your bum and don't worry about the block. And take it away and switch to your band and slip your legs inside and around above your knees. Okay, so let's work on abduction, hip abduction. So your feet are flat on the floor, your heels are roughly underneath your knees, and you've got to make sure that your big toe knuckles stay planted on the ground. You're going to stretch that band by pushing away from your outer hips and then slowly release without you rolling onto the little toe side of your feet. So you've got to stay pushing on those big toe knuckles. So imagine there's some Gorilla Glue and you've stuck down the balls of your feet, especially the big toe side. So how much can you stretch that band without your feet getting involved? So you want to make sure that you haven't peeled those big toes off. There is not more weight on the little toe side. It should feel the same, equal across big toe, little toe. Now you're going to keep that tension on and we're just going to push straight up and straight down into like a hinge, a hip hinge, or maybe you know this as a glute bridge. Push your hips straight up, keep the tension on. Make sure you're standing on your heels and you're standing on your big toe knuckles. If you want to do this sort of strength and mobility work, then you don't want to take shortcuts. You want to be doing these well. Keep stretching that band, push, and straight down onto your tailbone, looking at the ceiling while you're doing this. Keep that tension on. Keep pushing outwards into that band. Now we add in a hold, and you're going to stretch the band more on your right leg and release it a bit. Right leg, only right leg. And you've got to keep a bit of pushing outwards on the left so that you don't drag the left side with you. There might only be a small range of motion here, moving that right leg out and in. Go to the left side. Resist with the right leg. Remember your feet. Do not let that big toe knuckle come off the floor. 2 more. 1 more. Okay, we're not done. Both legs, pulse. Pulse on that band. Push outwards. Feel that work. Might be fatiguing now. 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower yourself down. Okay, slip the band off just so that we can safely stand up, and then you're going to put the band back on again. And you're going to place it in the same, place it around your thighs, just above your knees. And we're just going to do a few lateral band walks, okay? It's going to feel tight. Make sure this is a medium to heavy band. Okay, so according to the space you have in your room, we'll take steps to the right, steps to the left. But I want you to sit into a squat. So you're going to walk out, the band stretches more, and then come back to hip distance apart. Go wider, step in. We're going to be here for a full minute. You're welcome. So it doesn't matter how many steps right and left you take. Could be 2, could be more, doesn't matter. And you want to really sit back into that squat-like position. I'll turn side on in a second. We keep going, if we can, for a full minute. So side on, bum is back. Aim to keep your feet parallel with the side parallel steps, out and in. And so we're strengthening. Should feel all that juicy stuff. Okay, I'm going back to facing this way. The minute's nearly up, that's good news. And if you've needed to stand up before the minute's done, come back to it and practice it again. Oh, okay, and stand up. Let that band slip off, and we're just gonna do a bit of a hip hamstring mobilizing stretch. Okay, so you're gonna come to a half kneeling position. Take your right foot in front of you and angle it at a 45-degree angle. You've got a straight foot and your back foot is flat to the floor. So if you are wearing shoes, think shoelaces to the ground. We're going to make a circular motion. So you're going to place your hands on your hips. You're going to shift your hips to the right. You're going to circle your pelvis behind you. Your back is flat. You're going to shift your pelvis to the left and you're going to press your hips forwards. So we go shifting to the right, push your hip behind you, over to the left, press your hips forwards. So think about your pelvis, your knee, your leg will move a little bit. You might feel the hamstring stretch at this point because you're really trying to reach your pelvis behind you. Shifting to the left and come up. And I want you to let your head move around freely. Your head has to be the counterbalance here. Otherwise, you don't nearly get as big a circle as you potentially could be making. We're going the other way. So we want to shift the pelvis to the right. You might feel a stretch over here. You're going to push your hips behind you. Your back is flat and straight. Start to go over to the right, press your hips forwards at center. Aim to go slow and explore, hunt for your biggest range of motion. Last one. A pelvic circle, a hip circle, you can call it what you like. Just try and find switch sides your biggest range of motion. Stepping out at a 45-degree angle. Your foot is straight behind you, this one. Your foot is flat to the floor. So we can start anyway. Hip shifts. Start pushing your hips behind you. Start moving around. And then press your hips forwards. Notice if you get stuck somewhere. Go slow. And you want to feel like you're going in a circular motion. Remember what I said on the other side. Let your head be the counterbalance. Don't try and keep it still. Explore your full range of motion. Let's go the other way. Hip shift, push back, through to the other side. We're coming up and you're pressing your hips forwards. You might feel a bit of a stretch here as you press your hips forwards. Lovely mobility for your hips and your spine a little bit. There you go. Well done. So I hope you've enjoyed giving your hips a healthy workout from a mobility and strength point of view. And if you'd like any more of that, feel free to join one of my online classes. They're almost every day of the week. Have a look in the description and feel free to get in touch. See you soon.